There are two main ways that rain forms, and while we're really good at forecasting one kind, we're really bad at predicting the other. The first kind, which makes up about 40% of the rain we experience, is the long-lasting gray skies all day kind of rain. This comes from giant air masses called fronts, which move around the planet. When a cold one runs into a warm one, the warm one, which is less dense, gets lifted up. As it rises, it quickly cools off, which causes tons of water vapor in it to condense right where the two air masses meet and then fall as rain, or snow, or sleet. Since the fronts themselves are large and easy to track with radar systems, not only can meteorologists tell pretty much exactly where this type of rain will fall, they can also measure the size and temperature of the two air masses and use that to accurately predict how intense the rain will be and how long it will last. But the majority of rain we experience comes from a process called convection. This type of rain happens when heat from the ground warms up a small mass of air, which then rises and cools, causing the water vapor in it to condense and fall to the ground. That process of rising, cooling, and condensing is very similar to what happens with frontal rain. But because convective rain is triggered by heat from a small patch of ground, rather than the temperature difference between two large masses of air, it's much more complicated. It's hard to know how warm various parts of the ground will be at a particular time, whether that heat will be enough to lift a particular mass of air to a particular height, how much water vapor that particular mass of air holds, and how long that particular mass of air will stay over that particular patch of warm ground.
Biomass, the original renewable energy. It's been part of our lives since our ancestors learned to control fire. In fact, it's made possible by the sun, whose energy is absorbed by trees and plants through photosynthesis, and then released when organic matter is burned or decomposes. First, there's plant waste. Wood scraps, sawdust, and crop waste can be collected from farms or manufacturers. The waste is burned to heat water. The hot water creates steam. The pressure of the steam spins a turbine. The turbine powers a generator. The generator creates electricity. Simple, really. Next up, animal waste, also known as the problem of cow poop. The solution? Waste from farm animals can be collected in a large tank called a digester, filled with bacteria that eats the waste and converts it to methane gas. The methane is captured and burned to heat water and create steam. Sound familiar? Second verse, same as the first. This same principle can also be used to capture methane, a potent greenhouse gas with 25 times the heat-trapping ability of carbon dioxide, from landfills. Once a section of the landfill is closed off, pipes are run from the waste to collect the gas, which can then be burned to make electricity or heat. Biomass may not be the prettiest form of renewable energy, and it needs to be used carefully and thoughtfully to protect ecosystems and prevent greenhouse gas emissions, but it can be a smart way to make use of waste.
About 71% of the Earth's surface is covered in water, and we can harness some of it to create energy. The two most common water energy technologies are hydropower and tidal power. Hydropower is electrical energy derived from falling or running water. The movement of the water turns the blades of a turbine, which is connected to a generator, which produces electricity. Hydropower is the most commonly used form of renewable energy. Tidal power converts the natural rise and fall of the tides into electricity using a variety of technologies, including tidal fences, barrages, and turbines. Additionally, wave power can be harnessed to capture energy from waves on the surface of the ocean using a special buoy. Energy from water is considered a renewable energy resource because it uses the Earth's water cycle and gravitational pull to generate electricity. It also does not directly emit greenhouse gas emissions or air pollutants. However, depending on the water energy technology, negative environmental land use impacts can be an issue. Water is also heavily used in energy production processes. For example, water is used in power generation to generate steam, cool nuclear thermal plants, extract and process fossil fuels, and to irrigate biofuel crops.
Human activities, such as burning fossil fuels, are warming Earth's climate. The climate crisis has widespread ramifications. Ecologists are worried that many species will become extinct because they might not be able to adapt to a climate change that's faster than most naturally occurring ones. It's possible that some plants and animals could adapt by shifting their habitats towards Earth's poles or towards higher elevations to avoid the heat. Since ecosystems are varied and complex, ecologists can only find out by studying many specific cases. A team of American ecologists explored this possibility for a species of hummingbirds native to North America's west coast, called Anna's hummingbird. The researchers published their findings in 2022. Anna's hummingbirds live in California's lowlands, but migrate upslope into the cooler mountains during the summer. If climate warming continues, the team hypothesized, the birds might adapt by migrating farther up. To test whether this was really possible, the researchers studied the effects of relocating a group of Anna's hummingbirds to a higher altitude. They captured the birds from across their normal range in the Sierra Nevada and moved them to a research station near a mountain peak, 4,000 feet higher than the birds normally venture. They found that the hummingbirds had big difficulties adapting to the lower air pressure and oxygen levels, which caused a drop in their metabolic rate and flight efficiency. Although the researchers still want to study the effects of longer exposure, their tentative conclusion was that it would be hard for the birds to adapt. Their results remind us how complicated an animal's environmental requirements are.
Some clouds appear light and fluffy, others dark and menacing, but all clouds are made of bacteria? Clouds contain dust and ice crystals and other atmospheric debris, but they also contain bacteria and other microscopic organisms. Scientists have done lab experiments showing that microbes can act as ice nuclei, and for a while scientists have suspected that microorganisms swept into the atmosphere end up as parts of clouds. Now, thanks to an airborne mass spectrometer, an instrument that identifies the presence of elements and molecules, scientists know that clouds contain bacteria. In fact, they found that clouds are about a third biological material. Does this mean that clouds are somehow alive? Not necessarily, because it's not yet clear if the microbes in clouds are living or dead. What scientists do know is that the discovery will help develop new climate models. The more we know about how clouds form and what's in them, the better we can understand their effect on climate and weather patterns. Clouds radiate sunlight back into space and also trap heat on Earth, and of course, clouds produce rain. Knowing that clouds harbor biological material adds another piece to the puzzle of how clouds work and how they affect life on Earth.